Hey y'all, it's been a while. It's Tasha C back again. And this is actually, if this is your first time watching or you one of my subscribers, YouTube buddies or whatever, this is one of the main reasons that I wanted to do YouTube, especially after a couple years ago. I always promised myself I was going to try to help people and to explain about the illness I have and deal with. Because it's a chronic illness. But I want the chance, to help people. And, not even if they don't have hidradenitis suppurativa, because that's what it is. This title is about me, living with hidradenitis suppurativa. I also wanted, the chance to help people, whether they have another chronic illness or they're just down and out. Hopefully, this can uplift you, their, chance and just, you can survive this, because it's been hell for the last couple of years, y'all. And even a part of the reason why I was out kind of almost like a 2 week something hiatus was because, my illness. Well, I'm about to get into a minute, y'all. But like I said, I was really going to do this video when I at least had 100 subscribers. And I've been blessed. Hopefully I don't try to cry in this video, y'all. Because this one of those is going to be kind of long. I don't know how long it's going to be. But I'm trying to hopefully keep it under an hour, as far as trying to tell my story, but tell enough. And I'm going to try to add in the video clip with showing my arms of the surgeries that I have, and now, did a little changing as far as my mobility and stuff a little bit. And, so here we go. But I've been blessed and have all this love, support for all of y'all. And like I said, I'm not about to sit here to shout out names. And the reason why is because I'm not trying to cry. I'm trying to avoid crying this because I'll sit here, So sit back and, if y'all have a chance, please be able to share this video. I really hope to be able to help bring hope and inspire people who's going through this or something else along the lines, or even if they're not dealing with it, just seem like the world is on their shoulders. Now, my illness is called hidradenitis suppurativa, and also, most doctors that do know about it just call hidradenitis, and it's a rare disease actually, but it's chronic. It's somehow, even if the best doctors and dermatologists know about this, you still have to kind of do research on your own once if you're fortunate enough to find out of it. Now, it could be minor or severe. In my case, it became to the point where it was severe and life-threatening. And here we're going to get to why. Like I said, to make it long story short, because it's a skin disease, but it's also autoimmune disease. And depending on what information you said, it attacks either the sweat glands and or the hair glands. And my hands, I don't know if y'all can see in this in HD, but this is why sometimes during my period day, the first thing to sweat is my hands or certain other areas, because I have overactive sweat glands. And when a doctor says that's affected hidradenitis, now I ain't about to sit here and get cut any more than what I have to and get near the spine. I'm just going to deal with sweaty hands and just wipe them off. So, about my journey testimony. Make a long story short, the first sign that I had was in '95. And I was on my way going to high school, and I had noticed it looked like a small, like a little bit bigger size pimple that was on my stomach, no, on my thigh, and then it came around my stomach. So the first couple years, just to let y'all know, hidradenitis loves areas where there's hair. Okay, like I said, it's very painful, especially if you have severe minor case. Some people just eventually dies out and they're lucky and it goes away. And some of us, unfortunately, who are dealing with this, it is extremely painful. You don't wish this ish on your worst enemy type of pain. Okay. And it loves hair, so you can get them on your underarms, you can get them and or near your groin area, buttocks area, and I've experienced all of that all sometime at the same time. Okay, that's what I was dealing with a couple years ago. I came a long way, but I just had a minor setback because this a couple weeks, a month ago, like I said, you still had to do your outside research. I went and got myself a B complex, which I didn't know because since excuse me, y'all, the immune system, that actually I still not only need zinc, I'll put in here. I take a certain zinc and gluconate. I'll put it down the bottom, y'all, so y'all can see it. what is best for people with hidradenitis suppurativa. They did a study in New Zealand. There's 24 patients, and most of them have partial remission, and most of them have full time. So any other way, just taking just 2 of these, because you're supposed to really have 90 milligrams. This really helped me a lot. I just take 2 pills a day, and I eventually will reduce it, whatever, when it's probably next year, and just go out on 1 pill. But just that simple zinc alone helps. And I thought I'd just take a multivitamin, whatever the case was, and I thought that was one, because it did help me a lot. Because I've been going to dermatologist for about it'll be 2 years in February since I've been going there. And, because I was still, even after the surgeries that I had a total of 5 surgeries, but 3 of them were like 2011, and the other 2 were back to back. But like I said, let me get in the story, y'all. So I just started having those, and I have one in the groin area, but I just thought it was just like, since I have very sensitive skin, some weird reaction and stuff for a couple years on and off, then. Because, it wasn't really bad, but it was always twice a year. It'd always be here, or something, right? And then by the time I got to be 21 years old, I started getting it on my left arm. And it was about the size of this, like oversized peach seed, bigger than peach seed on my left arm. Of course, I didn't know what it was. We just thought, you know how you get reactions, ladies, and some men who shave under their arms. And, sometimes I just thought it was a reaction from me shaving. So my mom trying to bust it, whatever the case is, this thing was hell. And then it came back, but I started noticing around that time also, because like I said, I realized it does affect the immune system as well. That's not something my dermatologist said, but like I said, you still have to kind of look and search for stuff, because since it's rare, it kind of like, unless you're blessed, like in my case, even though it took like several years later, okay, for you to find out. It's kind of like some things you have to sometimes go through trial and error with several different doctors, which I did as well, because they don't know what the hell it is. So sometimes, unfortunately, when you have these illnesses and the doctors can't diagnose this, either they just brush it off like, oh, it's because of you, or some other thing, or brush it off to be less than what it is. And unfortunately, some of us have to deal with the consequences of other people's actions. Okay, so like I said, y'all, I'll put in my arms thing. Hopefully, I can drag in the middle of the thing, but y'all will. Hopefully, Lord willing, be able to see the clip of my arms, So, when it got to be 21, my dad started noticing I was weak. It got to the point whereas, just like I had recently, because I wasn't taking big complex pills, and I found out the hard way. So, I had to make arrangements. I was blessed that I had instructors. I still got, not too much to do. But y'all, honestly, if y'all been watching me and been a supporter, even YouTubers, y'all, I've been on hiatus because I got so behind because the immune system shut down. Y'all know who suffer from any reason with the immune system shutting down. No matter how much sleep, your concentration's off or whatever, until you get the right amount of supplements to build up your body again. So I didn't know that I'm supposed to get at least a B100 complex, and y'all take that if y'all need it, or go to, if y'all can, like a health food store and talk to people and go to Whole Food stores. I went to those places last week as well, y'all. So that was kind of like my hiatus, because now I'm doing much better, but I'm going to have to do, a little extra during this break, but I will be able to give y'all videos later on. And if I can get them, hopefully I can get a few starting in this weekend is my goal. Lord willing. If not, it definitely is going to be next week. I'm going to be like Michael Bolton in these darn Christmas commercials and Honda, these Honda commercials. Santa Claus. Y'all know those commercials just every 2 minutes, okay? Y'all going to see a lot of me on the start back weekend again, okay, y'all? So, anyways, so I've, we've just been dealing with that. My body was shutting down again. I didn't know at first, and I didn't want to put it in the air, but that's what was happening to me. And all because of me, not knowing that I'm supposed to be taking the B complex vitamin. So I will be sticking that. So I got back on there. I'm also taking a wellness plan, which has like ginseng and everything, and taking that to help build up my system, because I don't want to be like this. I miss y'all, but it's just the point is you really can't do anything, and you're very weak and you're out of concentration, So around that time, I was the same thing. I would sleep like 16 hours, or I had to always take a nap, and my dad noticed, and then my mom noticed. And we went to, at that time, my ex, or used to be, primary physician. I went there in March. He was saying it's infection, because that's when I had got another, turned out to be an abscess here. Because like I said, you're known not only get this stuff in the groin area, you get lesions, you get abscesses, you get sometimes cysts, which sometimes I know y'all can't see here. But I know this camera in HD and whatever, but if y'all can see here, it goes up and down. I had this since 2007. That's actually a cyst that I get here. And eventually I'm going to have it where I can just get easily the dermatologist thing, but you get cysts, abscess, lesions, stuff like that nature, okay, y'all. And sometimes you get multiple ones. If y'all have the faint of heart to look at what some of these people look like with hydrogenized spirits, some of these people look worse than, the gym class videos when we see STDs. And even in some cases look like that with me. That's how bad off it is. Not as bad as a break, but I'm just saying it is not a pretty sight, y'all. And the pain it's just so unbearable. I mean, it is your faith is tested. I'm not going to lie. I mean, not to say I believe in God or anything. I still believe in Heavenly Father. But it's just like one of those, why am I going through this type of thing? Because you're so we just gonna keep it moving, y'all. But what I'm saying is that I end up going back to June, a couple months later, and again, it was just brushed off as an infection, because that's what a lot of times is. You're not going to get the right diagnosis. And then we end up going to this natural doctor in Windsor, because I'm Detroit, we ain't too far away from Windsor, whatever. And it was this natural, Chinese medicine doctor, and he was saying, of course I believe it, because like I said, I was so weak and not making sense, like somebody sucking the energy out of a straw. And in here I got, some type of like some type of abscess under my arm again. It just kept starting forming under my left arm a couple times, like back to back almost. And so he was saying it's based on what you eat, but this is something kind of like give everybody. It's like based on what you eat. So I gave up for a while. I kind of like avoided fried foods, pop or whatever. I stayed away from like cold things like ice cream and stuff like that for a year and a half, because it kind of went dominant, and I'm not probably saying, am I saying the right word, dominant? Well, it took a little hiatus for a while, and I thought maybe it was him that had helped me at first. Until the real reality, obviously the illness wasn't strong enough to overtake me like it did eventually years ago. It took a break on its own. So for a while, but then I started seeing again, like I said, years something later after that, in 2001, and then like 2002, 2003, I started seeing them pop up in my arms again. Then occasionally in the groin area and stuff like that, right? And then, by the time a couple years later, and sorry y'all, I'm about to stop this, and if it seemed like it was a pause, it's because Java update decided to pop across the screen. And so I ended up in 2004, and I thought because of stress, because I used to work at Sam's Club, and we all know how lovely that place is, especially if you're cashier. And so September 2004, I had an abscess so big I had to have it lanced, removed, and whatever. Then I went exactly a month later. Then I had they call it Pizza Rosa, which is like a virus, and you basically almost look like a mimicking thing of chicken pox, but it's a virus that goes away like I think 2-3 days around the second time I had it. And so I was off the register for a while, and I was, door greet or whatever for a minute, but I thought it was a stress because that job was basically hell. And, that's my got last, and they ended up the second time, when I got emergency, land surgery, to refer me, I think, to a surgeon specialist. So all she's just basically doing is having me be like a guinea pig, just having me kept coming there 4 times in a row and still saying, well, I think it might be your lymph nodes at the end, or and you're a woman, you have a period. It was still no answer then. Now they send me to somebody, but instead of sending me who was supposed to, and by the way, when I had that second surgery, I think the resident who ended up doing it was one of those people who probably got trustees, had some trust fund money, whatever, because I was not getting anesthesia, y'all, and I'm getting dug in my arm. Put that in your imagination, y'all. Okay, back to the story. So after that, for a while, I still kept getting on the arm, sometimes on the arm, so I kept switching on off for years. And then I had periods where I felt drainage and stuff like that, or were very groggy and drowsy. And then, it just seemed like I first thought fall 2008 is when it really started to hit the fan. And what I mean by that is that, I thought I was, about to graduate from junior college Henry Ford and go and transition to go to where I go to actually now, what I'm still at now as a grad student. And I sat there and I started noticing I was becoming very weak again. And I thought, because, you're about to grad, how you get, seem like a bunch of stuff is happening at once. And I thought it was just due to stress. And then first I had an abscess under the left arm. And then exactly in January, besides me being weak and everything else on and off, I noticed still, because I had to get 2 incompletes also with that going. I ended up noticing in January it looked like some open sores under my left arm, my right arm this time. So I'm still kind of dealing with this. And then that happened. So I'm on and off like dealing with weakness and all this other stuff. I went back to we just thought it was stress. And then I started getting lesion on the both underarms, so I'm starting to get more discomfort. It was lesion on the both underarms. So the time I graduated in that May, it was embarrassing because anything I wore, and I had discomfort. And then just to let y'all know, I'm not trying to be graphic or anything, but the lesions, just like when the abscess come to head, and if you have lesions, they usually leak. I know with me, if they leak a poison and it stains, I'll leave it as that. So, after that, when my first semester, after a while, I was still doing that. My mom tried to take me to hot springs and thinking, the mineral baths would help. This is right. This is the summer, a couple months later in August. And then again, my immune system actually has shut down the beginning of my first semester, fall 2009 at Madonna. I ended up getting, my first class, just to keep it real with y'all, one of my classes, I had one of those instructors that said they were going to help me or know something was wrong. I was doing good with the class first and then whatever. And she would actually give me an F. And I'm going to keep my comments for that to myself. But I've been blessed still, despite, the devil is a liar, that I was able to keep moving on. So it was one of those times again, just like I said in 2001, where I would sleep sometimes 16 to 17 hours a day. And it was just like, it was never enough. And I still felt drained, and I got behind my work and stuff like that. So that semester I just brushed off, and I even changed the program. I think a semester at first I was in social work, but then I went to the thing I really wanted to go to, and that was psychology. I began to deal with that. And then in 2010 in the summer, like I said, I still on and off had occasionally here. And the summer 2010 in August, first, the beginning of August, I had usually, like I said, I'm used to having to go in the buttocks area. And usually an Epsom salt bath takes care of it. Just 2 days, whatever, have, 1 or 2 Epsom salt baths and you're good to go. But this time, when it came to the head, it just stayed there. It got to the point where I was just trying to take aspirin, hope it would just go away, maybe something that I'm doing. But sometimes I didn't tell anybody in the house. Like, I sometimes had to wait about several minutes before I get out the bathtub because the thing was so painful. Eventually, as far as I knew the size and felt, it was like this big on the outside, right? And then on my left buttocks, inner buttocks. And so what happened is that I ended up having to go by the time like the 20th, 19th of August. I was in so much pain because the thing obviously had grew so bad that I could not get out the bed. That sucker, I ended up I was screaming and hollering like hell. My parents had to both drag me out of bed. I was in excruciating pain, and I had to have emergency surgery, whatever, there. So it turns out I ended up, healing at that time being, right? But they didn't tell me. I guess maybe I must have been like type of pain. But I was in so much pain. By the way, y'all, when I was waiting to have the surgery, because they did the same day, but I had to wait until, since I had 8 earlier, they gave me an IV full of morphine, right? That sucker was, I guess, that overpowered it so bad. Even giving me morphine did not work. So after I had the surgery, to take care of, nobody told me until after I guess it healed, which miraculously healed, like I guess in like 2 weeks or so. But you had to, take care of it and everything else. And I had to follow up by going to their surgeons, doctors who I did it. And it was about the size of a tennis ball, turns out, how deep it was. But nobody wanted, even the doctors lied to me talking about when they checked the next day before they released me from, because they had me, of course, stay overnight. They didn't want to tell me how big it was. They just said it was a little bit wide, but they didn't tell me it was the size of a tennis ball size. And so, after that, I still, the lesions under my arms had cleared up for a while. I guess because they made sure I had plenty of IVs and antibiotics. And then afterwards, you know, they came back again after a month. I started to, like I said, it was just so much going back for you. I'm just trying to remember as much as I can. And they basically was on my arms back again, and I think there was something in the back area. But around that time, it started to take over my arms. The acne started to form on my face. It was one time I had one breakout in 2007 where it was like all of this here, but it didn't come back again until like around my birthday in October 2010. And then all of a sudden, around in December, I started noticing paying attention. Here I'm in pain. I'm having lesions and abscesses in my buttocks and groin area. And then both of my arms both started getting lesions and abscesses around this time. So I'm in pain, y'all, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for several months straight. And I forgot to tell you, I am kind of random, but I did go back to my doctor also, like in March of 2010, almost like exactly around the same time with before. And I was like, something is wrong. I did go to doctors, trying to, again, the same doctor. And he's just like, oh, it's just because of my size probably, and you're fine, because I went to him twice, like a week apart or something. And, here I got all these lesions and stuff with both arms, and he's sitting here just trying to brush it off, as usual. And back to fast forwarding around this time. So I'm in excruciating pain. I'm still trying to go to school. I don't know what's wrong, why I have these abscesses. I just know that I'm surprised I didn't pass out, because I had sometimes multiple abscesses under both arms and lesions. They are very painful. And then also down under the lower half of the body as well. So I'm dealing with so much, y'all. It was hell. If that you could describe hell in physical form right now, I think I was in hell. I mean, not in hell, but it just felt like it just didn't make any sense. And I'm just surprised. I'm thanking God, glory to God, that I'm still here today. Because even experiencing that much pain on a regular basis, and on top of that, you don't even know why. I had applied for insurance from the Human Service Department. They had like a little thing my older sister helped me out with to get this little insurance. It's not full, complete Medicaid, but it was something similar to it. So they ended up assigning me to this one place, one of the hospitals here. And again, it was one of those things where here I got all this lesion and abscess on both arms, and I'm in excruciating pain, and on the lower backside, and all this doctor talk about, oh, my high blood pressure. Like, you don't realize maybe the possible cause of it is because the fact I'm in excruciating pain. He's talking about exercise. I'm like, how am I supposed to move? So the doctor's them again. He gives me something for the pain, right, which is an aspirin 3. Which, I mean, I probably would have better fit with Starburst or Skittles because it's effective at all. And then they switched my provider. So I'm still, like I said, y'all, both underarms, lower back area, just in pain every single day. I don't know how I survived that. Like I said, it's grace and miracles, faith of God, and having support. But I mean, I just was impressed. I was in so much pain. It did not make any sense. And then you're going to several doctors. And then, by the way, I forgot to mention again, y'all, random. In 2000, I went back to the same Chinese medicine doctor. And, right before, this was 2 months before I had my first surgery out of the last 3 that I had. And he ended up, again, you can't have water after 6. I'm not lying, y'all. You can have water after 6. You can have cold water after 6. I'm barely supposed to eat nothing but grass. I even lost about 25 or something pounds and still end up in the hospital sitting here, like in so much pain because I have this thing, like a tennis ball today implanted right under my butt cheek. So I'm, all this stuff, I followed the rules, and he basically don't eat seafood, don't eat turkey, don't eat something that looks like a turkey, don't eat meat, don't even eat this vegetable, don't eat, it was just like one of them type of things. But again, it started getting to the point like he was saying I was doing something wrong, or maybe it's way. And I went in between then, like in 2009, 2020, even before then, on and off a year, going to somebody who was here right in Michigan that was like maybe 30, 40 minutes away. And again, oh, it's just water. Oh, it's your weight. Like I said, I went to regular doctors by at least 5 plus or more. And then I went to a couple natural doctors. And it was kind of like still, okay, whatever. Either we'll just brush it off or it's you. And so, here you're discouraging. It was even more depressing to find out how I knew something was wrong. And then just keep getting brushed off, on and off several years as if it's nothing. So by the time when my insurance had switched, it was this so-called, that's another story, y'all, pretty special. But I mean, 2 months going to him, basically in the end, he's trying to say again, oh, I know what the problem is. But I'm going there 3 or 4 times a week to this doctor, and make a long story short, I'm taking 2 antibiotic shots, I think, a week, and taking different type of antibiotics to the point now I'm allergic to most antibiotics. I don't know if I still am, but the last time I checked, even a year or something ago, because he just gave me these antibiotics, and it didn't help my situation. It was back to the same thing. So he was just telling me, oh, just come back in about a week, or I mean, if you feel better, come back or whatever, or some junk. But I went there, lucked up on the right day, and it was the real doctor there. That, like I said, that's another story, y'all. It's just one of those situations. Is let me tell y'all this real quick. A couple months ago, it turns out they fled the country, and the so-called doctor I was going to, he's pretending to be somebody else, the real doctor. The real doctor I ended up seeing, y'all, I was just he knew what it was, but he didn't know how I got it. Again, the thing is the weight. Not saying I supposed to work on it, but again, it's something about was the weight on. But like I said, I was even smaller than this. 30, be real with y'all, even 40 to 50 some process, still was getting abscesses, so it had nothing to do with the weight in my case. It was just like, it was just one of those things that kept getting worse and just kept overtaking my body, because here I'm going for help and that. So, anyways, they ended up finally referring me after I came back, because like I said, I still was getting worse and this pain, whatever. And I ended up going back. By the time I go through being referred and basically took my insurance when they gave me the list, I ended up back being where I got the surgery on that last abscess, almost a year ago. And so they just, I did the surgeon, turned out to be the exact same surgeon. She's a sweetheart, Dr. Dolman. If I had money, I'll give y'all your donation. And so she wanted me, she was going to do the first surgery and then the second surgery, because what they ended up doing is they were removing my hair glands and whatever the poisons under both underarms. They were saying, by that time it died down in my lower half of the body where they didn't say I need to have surgery, thank goodness. So they were going to have to basically remove the hair glands on both underarms and whatever poison that was under the arms. And, then there was going to have to be another second surgery. At first, they said they were going to try to do it, I guess, like days apart. But I guess it changed, I guess, when they realized and they had another evaluation before I went there again, the possibility was, even though they still couldn't tell until actually doing the surgery how bad off it was, but they could see it was more redness and stuff like that on there. And so I ended up having the surgery again almost a day before, a day afterwards. And y'all, like I said, I already was in pain, but they didn't tell me to after, I had that surgery, y'all, and make it long story short, it was hell, because I knew the holes were deep. It was always painful. You're putting fluffers, that's like, stuff inside of here. So 2 days later, y'all, because when I went and had that the second to last surgery I had, y'all, and you had the shift that's mad, I guess, because I had the weekends. First of all, they didn't give me no morphine or anything, just basically threw me in the room and all this stuff, make long story short. They didn't give me the proper instructions. So 2 days later, y'all, I almost damn near ended up bleeding to death, because all of a sudden the right arm started bleeding. They were all across the house, y'all. It was like a natural horror show. And I passed out about 5 minutes. My mama tried to come to the emergency room, and I thought I died. And my father, who was rushing out the room, thought I died. And when I woke up, I was like, I guess, so depressed and so much in shock, because none of the pain medication also worked. And like I said, I'm about to tell y'all, like I said, some of the stuff they didn't tell me till after a certain amount of time. They, what I'm saying, I ended up saying I'm a waste of taxpayers' money. That's how I it was. But I just remember, this only part I remember telling my dad, was like, please just be there. And then, 9-1's a joke, whatever. I did stop bleeding. I did get better. But it was just painful until I went like a week or two. About a week after that, I went to do my, evaluation on it, because I was able to talk to the doctor. But she wasn't there, but the doctor was overhead of her, had looked in. The first thing again, it's like the stomach thing. But he did give me something that was just abdominal pads on that area cover. And then he said I was going to have to start, because I was just washing whatever anyway, I would have to take that 3 showers a day and run water on the arms. So that I was about to I was still assigned to see this other doctor to do evaluation. I think I went to him the next week afterwards. Because I found out also when I did this evaluation, y'all, the reason why the medicine did not work is because it's one of the most painful surgeries. I don't know, because you're hitting the hair glands, whatever. So what's the purpose of signing me nothing if anything doesn't work? I mean, I went in between y'all one time, like a couple days before that, going to that evaluation in between to see how that second out of the last one was doing. And because it looked a little green. We thought it was infected. It turns out that didn't, it wasn't a thing. But the morphine did work for me. It was 1 second it didn't work where when they were putting in the fluffers inside of the arms, I felt ouch. And then they had one of those dummy, no offense, but they had one of the resonance by themselves. And then I didn't know till the next day when it took my mom 6 hours because that pain was unbearable. I mean, the pain was unbearable. It took her 6 hours just to change one side of my arm. That's how painful they were. The sensitivity of the area is. And so I went and had the second surgery by Dr. Bala, the surgeon who she referred. I mean, the plastic surgeon. She referred to do that surgery. And so I wake up, I had to do everything. I had to change, like I said, my grades and everything. I had to keep making sacrifices or taking stuff in class. And I had to postpone taking another class because the only time he was available was on a Wednesday was the class when it was available. So I ended up taking it, the last fall and winter and stuff, right? So I ended up, what they did is that he was supposed to do a skin flap. And when they actually did, y'all, the second to last surgery, my right arm, it was deep as 13 inches. It was worse off than what they thought. 11 inches on my left side is how deep the middle part was at one time. Until maybe a couple weeks later, I was able to see, because, for about 4 months, I had to use a shower chair because I was so weak. I had my family members, but in one few classes. Of course, I had to drop a couple classes and stuff like that, but I was still fighting and going to school in between. Just had surgery, about to have surgery the second week of class. And, I could only wear certain stuff. I had to have people help me. I could only sleep on my back because of the surgery thing that I had, And still, back again, here goes a little flare up in the buttocks and groin area. And I went and, but I couldn't stop school because I wanted to keep fighting. I'm like, this illness, ever since I've been a teen, has been causing problems on and off. And ever since then in 2008, it was continuously just would not go away. So when I had the second surgery, it was the second week of school, September 13th, 2011. They ended up putting a drainer on this part of the back. Like I said, hopefully around this time I can at least put the clip in and know how to drag in the middle, y'all. It's press time, right? So I had a drainer in my back here on this side, my right side, and they took apart. It turned out to be experimental as far as the making like a skin flap. I didn't know until, of course, it was one of those things they waited till later on. Like, I didn't know how deep they went in my arms. They told my mom when, I was, knocked out or whatever in the surgeries. They didn't know it was that bad. This is stuff that they told my mom, but didn't want to tell me. I guess not to scare the hell out of me. And so they took this, because when you have a skin flap or a skin graft, they take, I think, like the circumference tissue of the area with its own blood supply, and they put it in here. I had a, skin flap. It has been tremendous because I never did it on the shoulder thing, and I didn't do before, and I did not know until a couple months later. You got doctors sitting here taking pictures, and they just excited because they were happy. Of course, I was that they didn't reject it. And then I had to work. At first, he thought I was going to have to do the left arm, and then it was a shoulder thing. But then because he really wanted to do the right arm. And then if I didn't, this is why I love moving my arms, because it was such a struggle just for me to do this, because especially me being in pain for so many consistent years, then I had to tell y'all, I could not, it got to the point, like a couple years, at least almost 3 years, I could not shave my underarms. I could not wear deodorant. So I kind of started pushing people away because I didn't feel comfortable because, I had that funkiness come from my arms. And then, some of my loved ones thought because they had health issues or other stuff going on with them, because we didn't know, this is right before I was diagnosed, they thought because of their problems were affecting me. You know what I mean? And that's why, that's what I'm saying. This whole illness just affected aspects, everything in my life. And so when I sat there and had this last surgery, like I said, I still had to make sacrifices. Then when you had disposable tape, I still had to take showers. Like I said, y'all, I was very weak. My arms were very still kind of limited, even though thank God this last surgery was not nowhere as, it wasn't painful because he sewed the left arm up a little bit that didn't close up yet. And other arm, like I said, part of my back now is under my arm. I didn't notice until after after a while with disposable tape, you let fall off. I was wondering why it's look oversized. Like I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. It looks like it might need a bra, or I might be able to auction if they ever do another Total Recall remake. I because it looked personally because it overlaps. It's a little bit small now, but it looked like a titty. I'm sorry, y'all. I mean to say that, but I don't know if it's ever going to completely heal, go down, but seriously, it looks like a titty to me. I'm sorry. So after that, the worst part was when I was on my way home. And for some reason, it just seemed like all these imaginary potholes, whatever, I was screaming like hell because it felt like somebody, the term backstabbers, it felt like somebody was trying to stab me right in the back with a knife. And I screamed all the way till we got back in the house after we got my medication I had to take, y'all. So, make long story short, slowly short, I had to do this with my left arm because I sure didn't want to get surgery on that one, especially after after dealing with that. Of course, I had to get changed because, the drainer, we had to measure the drainer and drain stuff, how much it was, all that other stuff. And then eventually 3 weeks later, I had the drainer taken out and I just had, I'd be careful with basically both my arms. So just slowly, surely, I began to heal and stuff like that. But by the time, after a couple months, in January, I still realized that I still had a lesion and stuff. Like, I guess since they said it was never going to come out of my right arm, thank God, and knock on wood, it has not affected neither one of my arms. But I did begin to notice still the acne thing, and I had lesions that were down the lower area. So I still was in discomfort pain, y'all. And then on top of that, not knowing that it's an immune system problem, it's also making it slow. I mean, back, like I said, technically I had 3 surgeries within a year. And then I'm still sitting up here, trying to heal from all this surgery, all this blood loss and everything else. And then the hidradenitis is still, sitting here like that mucus commercial and is going to sit here like, I'm not going nowhere. So now I was trying to take on my lower half body. So that's when I started going to a dermatologist. In between, I still was going a lot of doctor visits until once I got healed, like so many months, and I wasn't going as much, and I was able to go 3 months at a time, whatever, because I was healing, thank God, under my right arm. Even though, like I said, it looks like a third kidney. So, after that's like I said, at the time of surgery, I was still dealing with pain because healing, and then you have the hidradenitis, like I said, which is painful. Even just sometimes just having a little small abscess, which are, by the way, worse than boils. Because boils you can at least get corals. Abscesses are worse than boils, and that's what I was told by when I had the surgeon on the blood abscess area. The surgeons that told me that. So I ended up going to, they were saying, this dermatologist. I still go to her to stay, but I had lesions. Not only it did go on one side, like the inner thigh on my left side, it would take turns back and forth, and sometimes on both sides. So I was still quite weak and a lot of pain. And to fast forward, I just kept dealing with it, kept going to doctors and stuff like that. And let's just fast forward to like somewhat 2012, the really beginning of this year. So this beginning around February, March, my doctor ended up getting transferred, the last one to perform the last surgery, to the veterinary hospital. What am I saying veterinary? Sorry, y'all, I'm taking the animals course. So I meant to say veterans hospital. And so they had a replacement then. And here's, he talked about this here. He basically like, okay, you're fine. I'm saying I had a lot of pain in my neck at the beginning of this year at first. Like somebody was stepping on my neck. Like I said, I was still healing from it for some weird reason. I went to a couple doctors about this, but I had pain all in here, so it was still hard for me for a while to go to sleep. And I still, on and off, was still dealing with abscess and the lesion on my inner left side, and it kept coming back and forth and stuff on both my inner thighs and stuff like that, right? So on top of that, ever since last October, every month for a while, for most of the time when I was first going, about a year and stuff, when I first was going to dermatologist, most of the majority of the time I went every single month. And then since last year, y'all, in order to keep the flare-ups, I've been having to get shots in the thigh area, at the ladies' bikini line area, shots. Sometimes because of the abscesses and lesions coming on both sides, I had to get sometimes 5 to 7 shots. So I'll let y'all think on that one. So even though this is supposed to make me better, the problem is, you're trying to walk and see it. So after that, when I'm going back to this lovely plastic surgeon, this new doctor that they, has got, got the patient, my last surgeon's, old patients, whatever. He's just like this. He's just probably thinking about maybe to pay for one of his portions and stuff like that, right? So he's like this, like, you know what? Well, you're fine. And I'm trying to explain about anything. He just brushing off. He just want to do surgery so bad. But he's letting me know, oh, there's a chance of infection. Oh, there's a chance of this and this. And this and this. But you know what? Did you want to just get a swing? I can only swing a little bit. I'm not about to say. I was like this back in my head about this situation, y'all. I've been blessed. I made through, made through all this and came a long way. I was about to graduate. I am not about to risk my life. I will take the this bigger looking titty for 700, Alex, before I sit here and think like just worried about some vanity reason just to swing it and could get and just die. Just so here, it's a sign that I've been blessed that I survived now, and I accept that. Because for a while at first, just the traumatization of it all, you know what I mean? And y'all, my mom did not tell me this until 7 months after the last surgery. That was very important. Now, already it was getting to the point, obviously, it was very fatal. But it had gotten so bad off. If I wouldn't have had the last surgeon with surgery with the light surgeon, I would have lost usage of my right arm. So yeah, that's how bad it got in my system. Whereas I was going to lose, even just do this, I will lose the mobility out of my right arm. I realized I do have to be careful. I do have acne now since I'm a dermatologist, and I have this, what is called seborrheic dermatitis. I'll put it down the bottom, but it's basically, I did used to notice I had dandruff stuff, and that hidradenitis also causes acne sometimes. And the other condition I had on and off, like you get bad dandruff and it gets bad off. If it gets red, gets red in the system, in rare cases, your hair can fall out stuff, and then it can face your face. That's what that condition is. But I'm going to put it in the bottom, even in this video, in the caption thing, or just put in the description box, all about what I, the 3 conditions or the other 2 hidradenitis has. So, like I said, they don't know where it comes from. They don't know the cure, but I came a long way because, like I was saying, I've been taking this zinc. And also, if y'all can, and if it's okay, please take the complex if y'all are suffering with any autoimmune disease. Of course, if you can't, with the doctor, because like I said, the dermatologist will help me. But that I didn't know was also one other reason. I thought just taking a certain zinc and taking zinc oxide also helps. And also another thing, y'all, shout out to she's not a YouTuber, but she's someone on one of the book clubs I belong to, and her name's Tiffany G. And if you ever heard of Medina.com site, MADNA.com, they sell Medigo, I think 3-for-1 soap, and she also has hidradenitis, too, and that helps her. But I use antibacterial soap bar on any little lesion or stuff, or just on the body, period. They say refer to it helps. Also, like say if you have lower body, I think this is probably what known for. You take it, especially when you're flaring up, take like one, every, Epsom salt bath every day, or if you charge twice a day. Also to bring it to a head, or you might do pure like if you do 3 cups of warm water and 1 cup, I think, of white vinegar, and put it together in a rag and just throw it, compress for about 20 minutes, and do that twice a day as well. I've been blessed to kind of like, since I've been taking the zinc and stuff, and the zinc oxide ointment, also to put in a place. I'm also just telling this y'all that these are the natural things that help, but also, it saves less amount of time, money, pocket, because even with insurance, it usually, even without insurance or with insurance, it's very expensive to try and do all these ointments stuff. I mean, a lot of it's been reduced because, like I said, I started taking zinc, that particular zinc, since the beginning of February of this year. And by the time mid-July happened, now I just get I go, I go every 2 months, and I get it the most just to keep the flare-ups. And still, I just get 1 to 2 shots, but I still get shots, but I don't have flare-ups to the point where if I do have a flare-up now, in that, because I only just give them that one little area, just one little scar tissue lesion thing where right there, but it's really just mostly scar tissue. If I have a flare-up, y'all, I'm blessed now, that I don't even know until it happens, or see, and I'm not trying to be graphic, y'all, but I'm just saying 95% of what I deal with is gone. So I am living enough where I'm not in discomfort. I mean, like I said, I had this little setback, y'all, but I'm blessed that what I came through, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, like I said, I dealt with sometimes being so sad for a while. I felt guilty because, of me having all these health problems and, having to depend on my family, because I thought about this at times, I had talked to somebody, I'm not going to lie. And because I felt like with this problem, I've been trying to go off it for. I mean, honestly, I didn't go to like 2011 because it was not really bad at first. But I had to think about all these times I went for help, and the doctors kept brushing it off and brushing it off and brushing it off. Like I said, I don't have to go back down there for these arms. They are where they are. I do have to be careful though, like sometimes looking up, or even this, I get still tired quickly. I remember trying to tip the exercise, like here in the back, because the sensitivity now, part of my back is taken out and stuff. But I'm going to say around 90% of what I used to be able to do, I've been able to do. And like I said, to round it up, I'm able to drive again. For 6 years, I didn't have a car. But even if I didn't have a car, and now I have one now, I have one about a year or something now. I'm blessed. And the thing is, if I was in so much pain, I still would need somebody to drive me around anyway because of just the arm situation and my back. You can this here, and it took me a while to get adjusted just to even driving again because of those circumstances. Like I said, over time and after going to dermatologists and, doing more research. Because like I said, even the best doctors, because it is rare, it's only so much we're going to do. So now I basically supposed to use medicated shampoo. But one of my cousins had told me about, which is good, like get a moisturizer, a sulfate-free shampoo. I love Person to See Moisture line, and I use that to wash before and after I put the medicated shampoo because it was kind of like looking like it was about to it was starting to thin my hair out and stuff like that because, the chemicals they use in medicated shampoo. So I had to use that every week. I had to put stuff on my face now. I still have breakouts, but I was sitting there just, okay, all across the face. Because it increased, the acne increased it, especially when the hidradenitis and ongoing. Sometimes I can get rashes instantly on my stomach. I just noticed like the hidradenitis, it's no longer going to affect my life. I felt that I had came a long way. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm blessed to be here to be able to tell my story. And to see, I knew that this was gonna happen, but this is how I feel. I promised myself, and I'm also crying of joy because for all the support that I've gotten from everybody so far, just being on here is a blessing. It is beautiful that, that this has happened. I'm trying to avoid, I want to talk, but I don't want to talk because y'all see, I'm kind of choking up right now. And I'm just, like I said, I've been doing very well. I came from so much, y'all. And this is my testimony as far as I have loved ones. I've realized I'm happy being me and dealing with, I have scars, but I look at them now as I survived. And I can live to tell my story. Because there's some people, I had twice that doctors in between the surgeries like get one time this year and another one before that, that told me they apologized for my illness because they dealt with other patients and athletes. And like I said, it's a horrific disease. This is what they even told me. They horrific and devastating were the words, y'all. But I've been blessed that who knows how many years I might have this, but it's in a stage now that I can, like I said, I realized stick with the B complex pills, vitamins, but I am getting better, y'all. So it's not like it's one of those things setback like before, where once it's slided, it takes a very long time and then it gets out of control. I am getting better and feel better. But I hope y'all was able to see the video. Hopefully I slide it in showing my arms or my marks of miracles and surviving. But like I said, I thank Heavenly Father for I've been very blessed, and I hope this story helps somebody. In my testimony, like I said, I'm not trying to cry, but like I said, this is just kind of like also my story and a little mini update. And I will definitely see y'all next week. I appreciate, I love you all, and God bless. And like I said, let's just say by faith, like I said, it's like God is good, Heavenly Father, amen. And I will see y'all in the next video. Y'all definitely take care. Love y'all all.
Hey y'all, if y'all can see my face. I am with the hair. In the bathroom now, and that way y'all can get a clearer view and see my arms. Let me zoom in. You know how I am with this camera. Now this is the left arm. As we see here, this is what is left. I think it's like one hair gland or something left that they still have underwear. You can see it's like be one hair gland and then it rolls up. So here's y'all see everything. You probably can see the acne there. Alright, let's move to the right arm. Now y'all are actually looking at my back. And I don't know if I'm able to really do this, but see, and I'll try to give you a show, but see there is the start, excuse me y'all, of the scar of the removal of that part of my back that is under my right arm. So that's what I'm doing with today, y'all, is my arms and the scar, which oh yeah, y'all can see it. It's there, as deep as that. So